And hello, and welcome everyone to the comic multiverse where the worlds of nerd meet. As always, I'm your host, Joel. Back again, we took a week off to do a commentary, Matt, and a lot of people seem to really enjoy it, which I'm happy about.
I'm glad they did enjoy it.
Ask and you shall receive meant that, Matt and I could take it a little easy for a week, give news a chance to, kind of repopulate, and I think it has.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, how has your week under quarantine, Matt? Are you going crazy yet?
No, I'm not going too crazy. My quarantine's been pretty lax because I'm still able to go out and about and do things, go to work and whatnot. But yeah, no, my week's been pretty good. The last couple of days, though, I've been fighting with YouTube's copyright, so that's been quite a bit of fun. I just said fuck it and just decided to upload the video to Vimeo, so that'll be coming out soon.
Oh. Hey, there you go. I'm glad you got it up at some point.
Yeah, it was... The things that were like copywriting me for, I'm like, okay, yeah, I get it. I wasn't planning on monetizing the video anyway because I knew there was copyrighted content in it. And I'm like, but why are you why are you blocking the video in all territories?
Yeah, YouTube really blows like that. I can say I haven't had a problem yet, but my heart goes out, man. It really does.
Yeah.
I definitely had a bit here where I was kind of pulling my hair out. Kind of losing my mind because it was like a really shitty weather week here. So it's like, oh, I can't even really go to the store or just like do a walk around the track or anything because it's rainy. So I really am stuck inside. Oh no.
you finally felt it.
Yeah, I really did. I tried watching a little of that show, The Midnight Gospel, and that didn't help because it's like, oh, this is just a Duncan Trussell podcast that someone lovingly animated about expanding your mind and drugs and metaphysical concepts. And I'm like, no, I don't need that right now. No.
It's the worst type to have.
Although that being said, man, I hope at some point one of our fans becomes like a really big Hirsch-level animator and wants to animate the dumb shit we say into a microphone and turn it into a mind-bending 8 episodes of animation for Netflix.
That'd be pretty cool.
So, fans, get on that, all the dumbass shit Matt and I say. Make a coherent story out of all of that that also keeps its conversational tone. Can you do that?
No one could
do
that. No one could do that.
The challenge is on you people. Get to work. I will be expecting your animation samples next week, and the best ones will show off. That's a fuck of a thing. I'm going to take some dude's podcast I really enjoy and turn it into a show.
It happens now more than you think.
I guess. It's just so insane to me.
Yeah.
Oh, we got a couple people in the chat saying, all right, Joel, we'll take you up on that offer. All right, then. Yeah, Duncan Trussell is one of those guys. I never actually listened to his show, but he would always come on other people's shows that I listened to. And he'd be like, hey, man, so let me tell you about acid. So let me tell you about ayahuasca and expanding your mind. And I'm like, man, this guy sure does love drugs, doesn't he, in the state of being. And he's big into simulation theory, too, which is also what the show is about, where it's like, what if our lives are just a big simulation, man? And I'm like, I'm not high enough for this conversation. But it is a really nice looking show, and it is something that only Netflix would like roll the dice on and take a chance with.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's one of the new things I've been watching. We also watched the final 2 episodes of Star Wars Clone Wars this week. We will talk about that at the end of the show. So if you haven't seen it yet, this will go live Wednesday. So by then I think most people will have a chance to see it. But I know there's different time zones and people trying to get it out for May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. Matt's already seen it. So, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, I wasn't sure when... Because I would have assumed, because Disney Plus, everything about that is based in America, I would have thought I would have to have wait until after May the 4th happened. But no, I just curiously went to Disney Plus earlier today and just saw it and I'm like, oh fuck yeah, I'll watch this now. And also that Mandalorian behind the scenes show started. I haven't watched the first episode of that because they're releasing them weekly.
Right.
I haven't watched the first episode of that, but I heard it's very good.
Oh shit, I gotta go watch that then when I'm done here because that sounds super fun.
Yeah.
Westworld actually ends tonight as we're talking about this, so usually what Matt and I do is when this show is done, we go and we watch Westworld.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. That last week's episode was so good.
It really has been great. Man, the use of, ground control to Major Tom, I really freaking loved its use of this season, which I thought was great.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
turning a song about space and seeing things you've never seen before to, what is it, people waking up to a brand new frontier in their own lives. Good shit. That show uses music in a really interesting way.
It sure does.
Also, hey, it's nice to see, Jesse Pinkman be really great in something that's not just Breaking Bad.
Yeah, actually get to do something that's kind of out of character for, like, Jesse Pinkman.
Yeah, he has an everyman quality, Aaron Paul, and I know he kind of took a stab at movies that it didn't quite take. I wonder if this will let him take a second stab at movies.
I hope so.
Everyone's so great on that show. Tandy Newton, freaking Vincent Castle as like the villain, with probably one of the most relatable ass motivations, especially now in 2020.
Oh yeah.
Sirach, look, the human race, they will just kill each other. I lost my whole family to a nuclear bomb. Mankind must be controlled, and its, more terrifying, murderous instincts reigned in.
You're not wrong.
He seems nice about it. Yeah, it sucks that he makes the entire world into YouTube, basically, where our lives are ruled by an algorithm that no one understands, but people claim to understand. Yeah, but that's a conversation for another day. Believe it or not, everyone, we do actually have some news and some interesting topics, too. Here's one that I thought was interesting. Judd Winick, perhaps one of my favorite comic writers, a guy who hasn't written a traditional superhero book in a long time. I know he has like it's not quite a web series, but it's like a creator-owned series he's had going on for a bit, but he's actually returning to the world of superheroes with a new book called The Mighty very soon, and I'm excited for that. It basically sounds like the tale of a teenage superhero with like Superman-level powers.
Yeah, when I heard this, I thought, oh, is this The Mighty? Because there's a book called The Mighty that was made by DC. I think it was by Peter J. Tomasi in like 2008, I think. And I'm like, oh, is this like a reboot of that? But no, I read about what it was like. I'm like, oh, this is Naomi.
Yeah, it sounds very much like Naomi, doesn't it? And in the back of my mind, I've had my fingers crossed forever because, Judd Winick wrote some of my favorite Green Arrow stories ever. He wrote the Batman story that made, Jason Todd into the Red Hood and everything. He has, so many of these great accolades, but I think he's also one of those creators who really burned out in the New 52 era, because basically whenever they had a book that didn't work, they'd give it to him. Hey, Judd, can you write Batwing for a little bit? Hey, Judd, can you write Detective Comics for a little bit? Can you write this? Like, he just jumped around from book to book, it seems like, just taking projects no one else wanted, and very little, if anything, that he wrote actually stuck.
Yeah, which is a shame, because he was a very damn good writer.
Yes, I would say one of the best at his time, and to think that he's, he hasn't been slumbering because, writers got a right to pay the bills, but, he's been doing other stuff. He's been doing TV and movies and creator-owned stuff, but yeah, he's actually coming back to a traditional superhero book, and hopefully that means a return to either Marvel or DC at some point.
I hope so.
Yeah, most definitely. So good on him, good on Judd Winick, and if you see The Mighty on the shelf, check it out. That one gets the comic multiverse seal of approval.
Yeah, I'm gonna, because there was no art or anything to accompany this, so it's in very early stages, so I'm intrigued to see who they get for the artist and whatnot.
Most definitely. And also, for those wondering, that is indeed the sound of approval. That's what it sounds like. Get yourself a good is what you need. That's right, Space Lord. He did write Catwoman for a little bit. I forgot.
Wow, New 52 Catwoman I remember nothing about.
No, I think the only thing we remember about that is that Batwoman and Catwoman have sex on a rooftop in issue 1, and I do believe that was not his idea. I do believe in an interview somewhere he's like, no, they made me put that in. I didn't want to do that. Because Judd Winick actually writes really good, really well fleshed out 3-dimensional female characters, and that's totally not something he would do.
That's totally something Dan DiDio would make someone do.
Yeah, that was definitely a gun to his head type of situation. Man, I'm glad you brought up DiDio, because again, I thought about this the other day and just laughed to myself, where it's like, man, DC and Marvel falling on hard times. They don't know when their books are going to come out, all these creative issues and everything. And whose problem it's not right now? Dan DiDio. I like to imagine Dan DiDio hasn't gotten out of his bathrobe in like 2 months. He's waking up drinking Mai Tais, just reading Twitter like, oh, it's so good, it's someone else's problem.
Oh, I guarantee you there's probably still people out there that blame him.
Oh, of course. I'm sure he's just been sending passive-aggressive text messages to everyone in the office where it's like, oh, yeah, having a rough one now, guys. Oh, yeah, geez. Bet it must be really rough. Oh, I'm drinking in the afternoon now because I want to.
Not because I have to.
Later. Yeah, later I might watch a movie and have a nap. What are you going to do? Ooh, trying to create a brand new infrastructure for distributing your comics? Oh, that sounds rough. I've watched The Big Lebowski 6 times. In a row, because I can. But yeah, so good on Winick there. Glad to see him going to be writing something more in our wheelhouse soon. Now, our next story isn't exactly comic book focused, but it is entertainment industry focused, and it's definitely going to affect probably more of us than we think, and it's just an interesting topic that I know has been on the tongues of a lot of us right now, and that involves AMC theaters, which I don't think we actually have AMC theaters here in Canada. Do they have them in Australia?
Absolutely not.
Okay, so it doesn't affect me and Matt at all, but it will affect a lot of our American viewers out there, which is like most of you, I think, last time I checked the analytics. But yeah, AMC theaters got very pissy on social network this week, there's no other way to describe it, and said that they are no longer going to screen Universal films. And the reason they claim that they're going to do that is because, and follow me on this everyone, because it's going to get really fucky in a second, Trolls 2, yes, that movie, Trolls 2 apparently shattered all projections on digital when it was released. It was supposed to go to the theaters along with like Bloodshot and a bunch of other big movies, but it didn't. It went directly to digital, and apparently it was a huge fucking hit. Like, it did double what they expected. And AMC is so pissed at this idea about missing out on them sweet, sweet Troll 2 dollars that they're just punishing an entire studio full of people, saying, we're not going to show your movies anymore because we wanted them Troll bucks.
Yeah, it made something like double or triple its projected opening weekend, and apparently the film isn't too good anyway, but like obviously kids are stuck at home with their parents. The parents will just buy or rent the film just to keep them entertained.
Yeah, what's the hot new kids movie that'll shut you up for like an hour 30 so I can do some work?
Yeah, so it just made so much fucking money, and yeah, this is so fucking petty. This is so petty.
It's incredibly petty, and then also, too, it's like, yeah, of course they're mad, though, because this is revealing something that you and I have been talking about basically forever, and that is every movie doesn't need to go to the theaters anymore. Digital distribution is so strong now and so huge. Many movies would probably be better served going directly to on-demand and digital, and in fact, it actually offsets more of the fear of piracy than you thought it would.
Yeah, I don't know what the numbers were on like The Invisible Man and all that, but I have to imagine they did pretty damn well in that, because I remember when that got released on digital, everyone was fucking talking about it.
Right. Now, the Ultimate Darkslayer is also saying that there was a lot of merchandising tied up in this. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because usually whenever there's a big kids movie, it's like, hey, get the Trolls 2 popcorn bucket and limited edition drink and et cetera, and I mean, that's where movie theaters make all their money anyway. They don't make it on tickets, they make it on concessions and bullshit.
Well, see, I saw people as well, because it's kind of standard practice here with a lot of our cinemas, but like I know a lot of cinemas in the States don't actually serve food. Like, they have popcorn and stuff, but that's really all they have. They don't actually have like food facilities, where a lot of cinemas here actually, like, you can buy a burger and stuff and take it into the cinema, and
it's
stuff.
Changing, yeah, but yeah, it's definitely changing. A lot of the bigger theaters changed to try and stay competitive. Yeah, they have to offer food and more, alcoholic drinks and VIP things, nicer chairs. Not so much here where I live, but as I've said before, I live in bumfuck nowhere, northern Canada. The roof in our theater has almost caved in several times.
Yeah, so I think maybe they need to like move in that direction a little bit more, and like we don't have it here, but like people were pointing out like Alamo Draft House.
Yes,
and how that's like a pub, was the big one, but with a cinema attached to it.
They were the one who kind of started this new trend towards nicer, cooler theaters that everyone has kind of had to follow suit on, which I'm sure many theaters are pissed off about because they're like, oh, I got to get a liquor license now. Oh, I have to hire chefs to make, like, you know, decent food and everything. Oh, this is going to really cut into my overhead where I'm not making much money anyway. But again, very petty of AMC. And if you're wondering, you know, what other film franchises are they going to be missing out on now that they've sworn to show no Universal movies? That means they're going to miss out on the next Fast and the Furious, the next Jurassic Park, the next James Bond, the next Minions.
It's very weird. You would have thought like Troll 2 is the one that like broke the camel's back for these people.
I know.
You would have thought they would have waited out, and then it's like, oh, well, we're not going to be able to get Fast and Furious. Well, we're going to boycott the studios and stuff for not releasing the film to us. And that's like another thing. That's like kind of like trying to hold the movie studios hostage. I mean, it's their film. Yeah. If they want to put it out on digital, they're in complete, you know, legal rights to do so.
Oh yeah,
like it's their property.
It's madness. It's pure madness. And I wonder, you know, are they going to have to live by this now, or as the chat is saying, are they going to eventually be forced to reverse this and be like, oh, we didn't mean it?
They probably will, because I don't think they're very well off with this whole coronavirus thing shutting them down. I think they were pretty close to bankruptcy.
Yeah, guys, you really don't need any reason to, you know, cut off your nose to spite your face in this situation. And I love it, too. AMC's like, we're not going to do this anymore. And then you see, like, some smaller mom-and-pop movie houses being like, yes, we will be supporting AMC in the boycotting of all Universal films. And it's like, shut up and sit down, you small mom-and-pop chain. No one wants to hear from you. You're in a worse position than these guys. You're way closer to closing.
Yep.
It's a hell of a thing. This is just, as I like to call it, the perfect storm of bullshit when money and pride and just, you know, pissy attitudes all, you know, congeal together, and it's just mwah.
It's great. It's great.
This is Schadenfreude. There's a new actual web series that I've really gotten into. I never watched before, which is funny because the dude's from Southern Ontario. It's called Bright Sun Films. I don't know if you've heard of them, Matt. They do like a lot of investigation into like abandoned buildings, and a lot of the buildings they go to are abandoned chains. And, you know, he did a whole thing on Planet Hollywood, the restaurants, and like, oh, here's all these businesses that went out of or that, you know, went under around Disneyland and everything. And it's a really fun series, and all I can think to myself is like, will this be the future of AMC? Will urban explorers be like, whoa, they used to show movies in here, man?
I don't think I've seen that, but I have seen something similar where someone was talking, I think it actually might have been about AMC or like another big cinema chain where there was like some old theater in a town, and it was like dilapidated and whatnot, and people wanted to buy it to make an independent movie chain, but the government there was like corrupted by the cinema chains and kept like rezoning and shifting rules, so they couldn't buy it and then run a business there until this cinema chain bought it and just sat on it and just didn't do anything with it, so there'd be no competition.
Damn you, big cinema. You've done it again, big cinema.
Big cinema runs all the small towns in America.
Clearly, it would seem. Again, my small-ass town theater is run by a guy. Well, actually, it was run by a guy. He had a heart attack. I don't know who's running it now, but yeah. He was not a healthy dude. You always saw him after the movies. He was like 300 pounds. I believe he did say to me one time that he did need help putting on his shoes.
Oh, jeez.
So, I mean, I guess he was eating well enough in the theater business. But yeah, I would be sad to see my local mom and pop theater go out of business. But again, this is a big faceless corporation. Fuck them for being petty.
Yeah. Over the stupidest Trolls 2. Come on.
Of all things, Trolls 2 is the movie that changed all of cinema.
Yeah, jeez.
But not for the reasons you expected. Troll 2.
It was the shot heard around the world.
Clearly. Hey, I haven't seen Trolls 2, but I saw the trailer, and they have that great riff from Crazy Train in it. I mean, really, that's all you need. Just let me listen to the riff from Crazy Train a couple times.
Yeah, I'm going to blame the McElroys for this, because they had that podcast that was They were doing a podcast a week until they got into Trolls 2, and they got into Trolls 2, and now this happened, so it's their fault.
They got in, and I was sure to actually listen to the parts that they were in, because I actually do really love that show and love their content. And again, they auto-tuned the shit out of them so you can barely hear their lines.
Yeah. Oh.
That's a shame. You can kind of hear Griffin McElroy better where he says, "You suck," because it's unmistakable that that's him.
Yeah.
Matt, what kids movie franchise do we need to get into? Who can we bully to get in?
Bully? Do we have that much clout? We don't have that much clout.
I don't know, man. Again, we got a fan base. We got at least 22 people listening to us right now. If they tell 2 friends and then they tell 2 friends, it's like 100 people right there.
Hey, they're making a new Transformers movie. Make us, I don't know, fucking GoBots or something.
There you go. We'll be the GoBots that get spanked by Optimus Prime.
Yeah, the one no one likes.
There you go. We'll be Coptor and Gyro Robo. Whatever the fuck they're called, we'll be one of them. Hey, they're trying to do that Hanna-Barbera shared universe. Trying to get that together with that Scoob movie. We could possibly be in one of them. Couldn't we?
That'd be cool, though. I hear that Scoob movie's not very good.
That's a shame. You could tell they had really changing opinions on that movie, because it's like, hey everyone, it's a new Scooby-Doo origin movie in the first trailer. Then in the second trailer, did we say it was that? Because we actually meant that the Blue Falcon is going to be in it, and we're trying to start a superhero shared universe thing off the back of it. Why didn't you tell us the first time? We didn't know how you would take it.
It makes sense. This is WB. They can't ever just do anything slowly. It's all got to be in that fucking first film.
It's all a universe, you'll see.
This worked in live action, didn't it?
That's true. Oh, yeah, as Zeke in the chat says, they are doing a new Power Rangers movie. Yeah, can we be the voices of some of the monsters? I can sound like that. Brian Cranston.
We can be the new like Bulk and Skull.
Yeah. Hey, losers. Oh, no, I fell in some cake. Why does this keep happening? One day I'm going to open a pool bar. You'll see. Also, you'll be a doctor. No, really, you took your money and became a doctor off the back of this. For real.
Really, Junkie XL is composing Scoob? Is he using his Snyder Cut leftovers to compose?
Oh, probably. Man, I swear sometimes when you become a big music guy in Hollywood, I'm sure they do just have so much shit in their waste bin. And they're like, hey, Junkie, we need something really quick. How's this? It's great, Junkie. You done it again.
Oh, it happens all the time. All the time.
Yeah. I did it again. Whoa. But yeah, there's some AMC shit for you, everyone. We thought you would have a good laugh at that, because I know it kind of affects us all, even though it doesn't affect me and Matt, because we don't have AMCs in our country, but still.
Doesn't mean that AMC could still have shares in the company chains that are in our countries, so it's possible.
That's true.
We could not see Universal films, which I don't care.
I think Galaxy Cinema is the big one near me. There's usually a big Galaxy in every town.
Mm-hmm.
And the galaxies have gotten nicer, not around me, because again, Northern Ontario, not much going on here. But when I went to Vancouver, I went to a nice galaxy out there. It was for Spider-Man: Far From Home. It's the only time I ever plopped down a decent chunk of change for VIP tickets, because I'm like, fuck it, it's coming out. I'm on vacation. I'm gonna see this. Boom. And I got to go to a nice loft area where they had bar service and food. But I'm an idiot because I didn't know how VIP tickets worked, and I didn't know there'd be food, so I snuck in a bag of Cheetos in my backpack. And I felt like a fucking hobo when they're like, yeah, can we get you a drink or something? Would you like some hot food? And I'm like, yeah, nope, no, it's okay. Don't wait till the lights go off quietly, eat my Cheetos I smuggled in. So yeah, that's me. Joel don't know how to be fancy, everyone. That's my problem. It's always been my problem. Me the fucking Beverly Hillbillies saying that, I snuck in my own Cheeto in this garbage bag.
That's where you gotta smuggle in steak dinners and stuff.
Oh yeah. But do it in the really poor section right there. Up front, I'm wearing a tuxedo and a monocle. I lay down a whole silk sheet and everything and start eating my prime rib. Yes. Quite wonderful. Yeah, so that was a fun thing. At least I did it in another province, so my embarrassment will not follow
Your wanted
me back
poster
over the
is still
ocean.
up there, but no one's seen you because you don't live there. Yeah, this guy snuck in some Cheetos.
If you see this man, kill him on sight. For the high crime of not being fancy enough at the movies. Tar and feather this man in the streets for breaking fancy law. The only true law, fancy law. See, now Zeke's got it right there, too, saying, man, I sneak in shit all the time. Egg rolls, Haribos, M&Ms. Haribos are the good shit.
They are, except for the sugar-free ones. Don't eat them.
Don't eat those. Unless you're trying to give them to an enemy to be like, yes, these are yummy. Oh, you want some of my gummy bears? Here you go. Because I'll have a little diarrhea if it means my enemy will have a lot of diarrhea. That's mutually assured diarrhea destruction. That is.
Sun Tzu wrote about that in The Art of War.
Yeah, it was somewhere near the back there. Yeah, divide your enemies. Their chaos is your opportunity. Feed them gummy bears that give them diarrhea. Oh, man, he really lost the plot near the end, didn't he? So Haribos are the best gummy bear because like sometimes when you're eating regular ass gummy bears, you're like, I don't want the greens or the yellows, but with Haribos, they're all good.
They are.
That's how you know they're good. Now, speaking of movie studios, and we were deriding Warner Brothers there, where how they try too much at once. But there's another studio out there, Matt, in the superhero movie game, and they have another problem, and that is they can't name anything worth shit.
No, they can only name things in corporate speak.
Yes, and of course that is Sony, who this week, out of the blue, has finally named their arm of the Marvel comic-making universe, which is really only the Spider-Man and adjacent universe. So, they couldn't do the obvious thing and call it the Spider-Verse or the Venom-verse or, anything that makes sense. What did they call their new endeavor, Matt? What have they decided to call their universe?
I can't remember, but I know the acronym is like SUCK or SPUNK or something.
It's Spumk is what it is with a C instead of a
M
K.
is silent.
The Sony Pictures something Marvel did it, but yes, the acronym is Spumk is what it is.
Yeah, Sony Pictures universe of Marvel characters.
There you go, Spumk. Which sounds very close to Spumco from those old Ren and Stimpy cartoons, where that was the joke, is that we're saying "cum" in a children's cartoon. But with Sony, there is no joke that their thing sounds very close to cum.
Yeah, oh yeah, this was absolutely done like 100% serious face on, I don't know, Avi Arad or whoever's in fucking charge of that shit show over there.
Yeah, what? Again, and this comes only a couple weeks, too, after Let There Be Carnage.
Oh yeah, we never talked about that, eh?
We didn't, because it was so dumb I didn't think it was real, and then I found out that it was very real.
Yeah, very. Couldn't call it, Maximum Carnage or just Carnage. No. Had to be, that really shitty... What is with... Why? Why can't... Do they not have, like, a title, like, office that's, like, responsible for, like, coming up with, like, subtitles and stuff? Did they all get laid off with the coronavirus pandemic?
It is like, who is naming this shit? Like, seriously, do you not have focus groups for this? Who let this go out? Did you not show this to a single regular person who would have laughed this out of here?
Yeah, and I said before, it's very corporate speak, and that's the thing. It sounds like something that, like, you'd find in, like, a lawyer's letter, like a legal document. Yeah, like, this is what we have to legally call it.
Yes, legally, to not get yourself in trouble, you need to have Let There Be Carnage in there. Which, again, as far as bad subtitles go, that might be one of the worst subtitles ever, right?
Yeah, it's terrible. It's absolutely awful.
I expect nothing
less from fucking Venom.
I know. It's like, Venom, I already have, like, sub-zero expectations for you, and yet somehow you manage to underperform, even for my low my low expectations, seriously. Let There Be Carnage. Again, what was your first pick? What was the one you threw away? Venom 2 Carnage is in this one. Venom 2 Carnage coming.
Yeah, just Carnage. And Venom, maybe.
Yeah, Venom 2 Carnage. Venom and Carnage.
Seriously, the comics have all these subtitles regarding Carnage, Maximum Carnage, just Carnage, Absolute Carnage, all this sort of stuff. Carnage USA. Choose any of them. Any of them are so much better.
The worst part too is like, isn't like Lord and Miller supposed to be working on this? Aren't they supposed to be like the new heads overseeing this universe? Isn't Andy Serkis supposed to be directing? I thought it was going to get better, guys. I thought it was going to get better.
We all thought that, but I have a feeling that was all just to gain a little bit of like good news for a little bit there. Just like, oh no, these guys are in charge. Yeah, totally. Yeah, we won't listen to them, but they're in charge.
Now, here's the thing, and I will throw this out in the universe in hopes that if I throw it out in the universe, this will be true. And again, everyone mark this on your calendar. What is it? Sunday, the 3rd at 10:31 p.m. Maybe they're calling it Let There Be Carnage because it's a bad title, because Venom 1 was a bad movie, and maybe because this is Lord and Miller, who are masters of meta storytelling and parody and everything else. Maybe this is going to be a giant parody. Maybe they're actually going to like producers this and try and make the worst superhero movie they actually can, starting with the title.
This is their backdoor to 23 Jump Street.
Ah, yes, you see, because in the post-credit, Channing Tatum shows up, and it's like, look, Eddie Brock, we need you for the Jump Street initiative. That's where it's all headed. This is all roads lead to. And again, if you think that's stupid that they would use a Spider-Man movie for a 21 Jump Street movie, remember when they were talking about doing a Men in Black 21 Jump Street crossover?
Mm-hmm. It could happen. And
so
this is Sony.
And
this is Sony, yeah. So like they're full of bad decisions.
They wanted to make an Aunt May movie. They were floating that around. They were going to make a Black Cat Silver Sable movie. There's no idea too stupid for Sony.
No, not at all.
So again, don't be shocked if it happens. But yeah, so there's the Spunk universe, everybody. Get ready for it. Sony's going to be spunking all over the place. You won't even be able to handle it. In fact, hey, here's your new thing right now, everyone. You can put this on a poster. Grab a towel, because it's spunk time. In fact, you might need 2. Lay down a tarp, because Spider-Man's here to spunk all over the place. Why couldn't you just call it the Spider-Verse? You already made one good movie called Spider-Verse.
I wonder if maybe it was like they wanted to, but for legal reasons they like couldn't. Like we can't because it's tied to like Into the Spider-Verse and everything, and that movie technically isn't canon with any of these films because it's animated and whatnot.
Yeah.
They like shot themselves in the foot by doing that.
Clearly,
we can't sue ourselves.
Yeah, I know. What do you actually think the sequel subtitle for Into the Spider-Verse 2 is going to be, if anything?
More Spider-Men are in this.
Yeah, extra spiders, more spiders, now with additional spiders. Into the Spider-Verse 2, Out of the Spider-Verse. That's a terrible title.
So they'll use that then.
Absolutely, yeah. Again, in the comments section, everyone, what's the worst subtitle they could do for what was admittedly the best movie they've done? Into the Spider-Verse 2, Electric Boogaloo. Yes, we're not doing it ironically anymore. We're actually bringing it back, because Electro will be the villain, so it's Electro Boogaloo.
Oh, they're doing Electro again.
There you go. We're bringing him. They actually kind of fucking did that in the Spider-Verse comic when it was a standalone series. Literally, the first arc was like Electroverse, and they met a bunch of Electros from other universes.
Oh, Jesus.
I wish I was making that up, and you wonder why I'm like, yeah, I don't need to read this book anymore. Yeah, Spider-Verse 2, we promised the weird Japanese Spider-Man is here.
Yeah, that's right. They did promise that.
Spider-Verse 2, Inherited. Agreed. That's a bad title and also one that will make people scratch their heads, and if you don't know the comics, you'll be like, what?
Here we go. They just call it Spider-Verse, but they get rid of the hyphen.
Oh, okay. Okay, you win, Matt. Yep, that's the worst one. That's the worst one right there. You did it.
I want them to do that now just because of like the salt that would create. The amount of people that just go off when you forget that hyphen.
People will be flipping tables and setting cars on fire.
There'll be mass hysteria in the streets. Cats and dogs
Dogs
living together.
Yep, you said it. That'll be the one. Yeah, Spider-Man, Spider-Verse, no hyphens for either word. Oh, just reading it makes me angry in ways I didn't know I could be.
No colon either. It's just Spider-Man, Spider-Verse.
Spider-Man, Spider-Verse. It's one word. You gotta say it really quick. Spider-Man, Spider-Verse. Love it. God damn it. Or like, what's the thing too? Like, it's not Fast and Furious anymore. We drop the into it. So it's just Spider-Verse, and then by the third one, it's just verse. We just keep cutting stuff off the title. That was a weird thing for a little bit, where they just cut the titles off stuff.
Yeah.
We don't see it as much anymore, but it was popular for a minute. All right, moving on to some TV news here. Geoff Johns is now apparently officially attached to the HBO Go Green Lantern show that they're going to be doing.
And that means it will be great, and it also means that the Snyder Cut fans won't be watching this show.
No, they're gonna be flipping their shit for some reason, because they've apparently decided that Geoff Johns is the most evil person ever. Yep. Even though if you look at his history with all the Warner Brothers movies, he's a man who kept coming with good ideas that they never listened to and never gave any power to.
Yeah. No, don't listen to the guy who wrote some of the most seminal character books in the last 10, 20 years.
No, don't listen to a man who made a living writing comic books or anything. Mm-hmm. A man who, ran the company that is DC Comics for a bit for what is, not arguably, it was their best era in a decade.
Yep, absolutely.
No, don't listen to that man. Don't listen to the man who has probably one of the biggest footprints in Green Lantern ever.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this guy understands Green Lantern.
Man, if you told me all those years ago, hey, this Green Lantern movie is terrible, but like a decade from now, Geoff Johns, Greg Berlanti, the same guy, are going to come back, do it again on HBO, and you're going to be super excited for it.
Hey, it could happen. It does sound like a pretty interesting show, because it sounds like it's going to be like anthology based. Where
it should be.
Where like it'll be like a group of lanterns that each get like an episode or two.
Also, too, as we've seen from Doom Patrol, as we've seen from, like, even the other stuff they're doing, like Stargirl and everything on CW, you can do a good superhero show for not much money, and if they get the space stuff right, you're basically just doing Star Trek with superheroes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's absolutely possible, especially thanks to all the advancements in technology you see in TV shows these days.
Yeah. Winford has a great one in the chat, too, saying Geoff Johns' GL love was so huge, he was one of the people that they didn't actually change in the New 52. Yeah, you're right.
That was like the only book that had, like, carryover.
Yep, well, that and Batman, but just a little bit.
Yeah.
Because they always sold, so they can do whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah.
And you know what? It wasn't even main Batman, it was Grant Morrison Batman. It was Grant Morrison Batman and Green Lantern. Okay, we're restarting everything from zero. No, not you, Geoff. Not you, Grant. You guys can do whatever you want. That's cool. Please don't stop. Never stop.
There you go. Zeke says they should make Green Lantern just Star Trek SVU.
Ooh, every week Hal Jordan has to go to a new planet to solve a sex crime ripped from the headlines.
Yeah, stop alien rapists.
Yes, Bolfunga, yes. He installed a button in his bounty hunter office that would close the door behind him.
He's putting cameras in the toilets.
Yes, Zox, what is it there? He was trafficking more green women. I mean, he didn't kill himself in that spider prison. You joke, but these are all plot lines from SVU this season. I'm not making any of this up. I very much love SVU and watch it all the time. But yeah, no, this sounds great. Justice League Dark sounds great. I think they're making the right type of shows for this app, that there's something that either A, we haven't seen before, or B, something that needs a second take at it.
Yeah, I do find it very, very funny that none of these shows, these DC shows, are on the actual DC app.
Yeah, boy, did that change quickly, and boy, that's actually a nice bit of a segue there, because it was also announced this week that the Harley Quinn show that we've been enjoying a whole lot on the DC Universe app, yeah, it's not staying on the DC Universe app. They're going to be airing season 1 on Syfy.
Yeah. The app doesn't have anything going for it now, because I mean, you don't need the app to watch Stargirl. You could just wait a day and it'll be on CW.
Yep.
You've probably already watched, Swamp Thing was cancelled, so you've probably watched that.
Yep.
Doom Patrol's finished for now. You probably watched all that. Titans you don't want to watch.
No, because it's bad. Young Justice, you're going to have to wait a bit for the next season.
So, like, why? Why would you want that app? Because it's just a glorified Marvel Unlimited.
Is really all it is now. I mean, yeah, you could go back and watch all the old cartoons and movies, but you can get those otherwhere for a better price.
Yeah, and some of them as well, if they're old enough, they're actually just on YouTube.
Yeah, also that. It's a hell of a thing. Man, it's like every time DC Universe had something good going for it, like, ooh, Doom Patrol is pretty masterful. Ooh, this Harley Quinn show is really damn funny and really cool and everything. Too good for you, DC Universe app. We're just going to take those and put them somewhere people can actually watch
It was
them.
too much of a niche app. That's why there's no, like dedicated Marvel app where all, like, the Marvel TV shows and stuff are. It's too niche.
Yeah. Yeah, again, you can get that in the Disney app.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a heck of a thing. As the chat also mentions, and no, they haven't answered this yet, how are they going to deal with the swearing? Because they drop a lot of hard F and C bombs and everything else in that show. I wonder how they're going to deal with that.
Yeah, I could see them maybe censoring it, though they'll probably put it in, like, a time slot where they don't have to.
Like, literally, this is the perfect midnight show. Like, watch the Harley show at midnight.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely what I would do for it. And yes, Space Lord, Doom Patrol Season 2 is going to HBO Max. It's going to be on both, but seriously, if you have the choice between the DC Universe app and HBO Go, you're probably going to get that one.
Yeah, just get HBO Go. It's more selection of stuff.
Yeah. It's a hell of a thing, man. I remember I was so, like, kind of salty and pissed off because, like, every other comic book YouTuber of my size got, like, a free, a free look at the DC Universe app and everything. And they're like, no, not you, Canada. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
Get out.
Same here with Australia. And I'm like, well, fine then. I'll just have to go to other places to get it. And I do anyway because, like, the way the fucking, like, rights and stuff go, you need, like, 5 different streaming services to, like, watch everything. Like, Titans is on Netflix, and then if I want Swamp Thing, I need to go over to this other one called Foxtel Go, and then if I want Doom Patrol, I need one other one. It makes no fucking sense.
Nope, it really doesn't. The worst parts of cable are back again. They really are.
Yeah.
They really, really, really are. Did they curse a lot in Krypton? I never actually watched that far in Krypton.
I think there was a couple. I can't. I need to go back and watch that show. That show was so fucking good. Fuck Syfy for canceling that.
Yeah, really. But now they're getting this show. Oh, Crusader Con saying they bleep Rick and Morty. Yeah, that's right, because Rick and Morty, when they air it, they bleep some of the harder swear words, but then when you buy the DVD, you get it uncut.
Yeah.
It's true, Jaden. DC Universe app does hate Canada and Australia, but that's fine. Canada and Australia will probably outlive that app.
Yeah.
So there you go. I mean, yeah, now that all their good shows are going elsewhere, this show's basically dead in the water, right? As a consumer advocate, I'm here to tell you, you really have no reason to have that app. You can get a better deal by getting these shows elsewhere.
Yeah, if you haven't already seen these shows, you'll see them elsewhere. The shows they offer, like the older stuff, you've probably already seen. Maybe even like me, own them already on like DVD or Blu-ray. Same with the comics. You probably have them digitally anyway, or like us, physically.
Yeah.
Again, they had the perfect opportunity with these DC digital first comics. Put them on the app. The animated films you could have, because they end up getting digitally released first before physical anyway, so just premiere them on that. Had all these chances.
We've already made deals with other people.
They had no foresight at all.
No, we wanted an app. We didn't know how much work would go into building an app.
Oh, you could definitely tell they didn't think it through at all. It's like, we'll just make this in, fucking website generator or something.
Oh, well, I mean, at least HBO Max looks kind of cool now. I hate the idea of having to get another app, but if it means I could watch shows like that, I would be interested.
I'm going to be intrigued to see. I'm sure we talked about it, but I honestly can't remember if it's getting released like in Australia and I'm sure it's getting released in Canada. The HBO Go stuff, I'm not sure whether that's actually coming out here.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Friggin' Australia again, always getting fucked over.
It'll be on one of our other streaming services that you got to pay to get a package for, one of the cable packages or something for.
All the worst parts of cable are back. Oh, man, speaking of Harley, have you been keeping up with the show, or if nothing else, did you see the clip that was making the rounds from this week's episode?
I did see that clip, yes.
Man, just perfection personified.
It's great. It's absolutely fantastic. And just the comments that were coming out of that were just, the salt.
It's the people who were mad who you knew were going to be mad because the show completely got their number and what they're all about, and they hated being, recognized like that. But then you got the people who were too dumb to realize they were being made fun of.
Yep.
And that's the really fun ones. Oh my God.
Oh, they were fantastic. They were great.
For people who don't know what we're talking about, literally this week of the Harley Quinn show, the whole joke is that this is actually the first Harley Quinn-less episode of the show, and because of that, two nerds, the shitty nerds, the ones who you hate sharing your fandom with, one's wearing a shirt that says, release the Snyder Cut, and another one is wearing a shirt that says The Last Jedi isn't canon, and it's them pissing and moaning about Harley and women being in their fandom and how they should smile more and da-da-da-da-da, and how, they complain about Harley Quinn, but it's very clear they've watched every single episode.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, and the joke is obviously Harley isn't in this episode, and one of them's complaining, "Oh, what's this episode about? Harley and Poison Ivy, go do stuff." And the episode is about Batman waking up from coma.
Yeah. I love that. I love people who didn't get the joke and that they were being made fun of, that they saw the clip and it's like, oh, this show agrees with us. No, it doesn't.
No.
This show is saying you're shitty. But my absolute favorite one is you get hardcore, Last Jedi haters being like, yeah, but at least we're not as bad as the Snyder Cut people. That's what they're saying here. No, they're saying you're equally as bad as each other is what they're saying. How could you get that from that? It's like, well, the Maurice LaMarche character was nicer. I'm like, yeah, but he's friends with the other dude and co-signing his bullshit. Like, literally, I read someone try to make that big thing where it's like, yeah, well, the Star Wars Last Jedi haters aren't so bad. I'm like, need we go through the list of people who quit acting and quit going to conventions because Star Wars fans were shows shitty? Do we need to remember that George Lucas sold it in the first place because you weirdos had expectations that were too high for him? Let's not make this a contest. Let's just say both fandoms have shitty people in it and move on. But yeah, that show's funny, show's great, Harley is wonderful. And what makes that even better is that they did Season 2 and Season 1 back-to-back, which means that joke was always going to be in there, and that joke wasn't a reaction to anything.
No, that was just, they were probably just when they were making the show, it was probably around the time Last Jedi was coming out, or just after that, so yeah.
Yeah. They knew they wanted to make that joke, and I love that was always there, because again, it's funny, I noticed when the show started, I saw guys like that in the comment section saying basically the same shit. It's like, Harley couldn't beat these people, Harley should smile more, I'm gonna torrent some hentai, But it's funny, those people slowly started getting quiet and quieter, and I didn't hear from them as much, and I'm like, oh, did they begrudgingly accept the show is good and start watching it, or have they moved on to, I don't know, fucking kicking puppies, I don't know. But it's so funny. In the back of my mind, I'm like, did those people start liking the show, start watching it only for the show to actually roast the shit out of them? If so, I think that's the greatest punk of all time.
I guarantee you they probably did start actually watching the show and listening to what was being said and everything, being like, hey, this is actually pretty well written and really good.
Yeah, we got you to like the show only for us to flip you off and tell you how much you suck. And you know what? I hope that's a wake-up call for some of those shitty fans.
It won't be.
No, obviously not. In the fantasy world of television, that would be the wake-up call. In real life, that will only serve to, further harden them. And again, to quote comic book guy, I was online within minutes, registering my disgust throughout the net. I'll have you know. I did the I'm adjusting glasses I don't have. Even A, my co-host has glasses, and B, I need glasses that I haven't gotten yet. That's one of the things I couldn't do for coronavirus. I actually got all set up with a freaking eyeglasses prescription, then never got to go out and get them. Yeah, ain't that some bullshit? Never did I think, man, I hope the world goes back to normal so I can get glasses. That'd be fun. All right, so there's your Harley Quinn news. That was pretty good. I guess with the latter half of the show here, Matt and I can just catch up on some old business. We've been reading all those DC digital comics they've been putting out. You've read more than me, Matt, but all the ones I've read, I've quite enjoyed. They've been pretty cool.
They have been, yeah. I've been reading all of them except for because they release one day a week, one comic a week. I haven't read the Teen Titans Go and the DC Supergirls. One's for kids, basically.
They're not for us.
Haven't read any of them because they're not in my wheelhouse. But yeah, they've all been pretty damn great.
Yeah, they really have been. I know you and I have been keeping up with the Superman one from Robert Venditti, and holy shit, I gave up on his Justice League fairly early, but man, the dude can write a fucking Superman story.
He can. It's so fucking good to have a Superman that's, it's kind of low key, and he's not fighting Rogol Zar or Roger Zerg on ruins of Krypton and all that sort of bullshit. He's just fighting like lesser known Rogues Gallery members, basically.
He has a great battle with the Parasite. They make him a scary foe again, and also make the comic weirdly timely too, because there's a big blackout in Metropolis, and he's like, no, you need to help each other, and if you turn on each other, then we're all dead already.
Yeah, stay inside. Isolation for 2 weeks.
Literally, and I'm like, thanks, Superman. Boy, I bet this wasn't topical when Venditti wrote this, but it hits me like a ton of bricks now.
Yeah, you can see why they put that out as like the first one.
Very, very much so. And then the next one, they brought back the Gambler, this Golden Age villain from the 40s, and did a whole story with him.
Yeah, and what was really cool about both of these stories is there was like a chance for Clark Kent as the reporter to get a bit in, especially in that second issue, where it was mainly like Clark researching this story. And I love the part where he finds out that him as Superman is being used as sort of like a gambling mechanic. In a way,
yeah, they're betting on him.
Yeah, I like that, and to like to calm his frustrations, he hits the pop. He hits the soda.
I love that. That's adorable. I love that Lois is such a huge factor in that thing. The only way that it could warm my heart more is if they worked Superboy in there somewhere. I don't think they will. I think that was probably one of the things, like, you can have all these characters, but you can't have Superboy.
Well, I think they're pretty much out of canon, these stories. I think they're just because they're just little stories in the Walmart books, basically.
Yeah, they're not going to upset any apple carts or anything. But yeah, they're really cool. Again, that Gambler story, the bit that I loved is, the woman who the Gambler has been manipulating to like burn down buildings to, square her debt. She's so scared she won't even talk to Superman because it's like, oh, the Gambler, he's got people all over the police force and everything. And Superman's like, okay, I think I know who you should talk to. And then he comes in as Clark Kent to talk to her. I'm like, oh, that's so cool that Kent could be a hero too.
Yeah. It's again paying off that thing where he uses... He's got all those superpowers, flight and all that stuff, but sometimes his best superpower is his journalistic investigation skills and stuff like that. And also the best, there's like a running joke between these two issues, and I'm sure it will continue, where Clark is always losing his suits because when he changes, he just dumps the suits. And I love Lois, like through the first issue and the second issue, Lois is always ragging on him of like losing suits. Like, you gave your suit to that homeless man and then you gave him $20.
My last $20. That was a great moment too, because it's like, it was all about like, wealth disparity and poverty in Metropolis and people gambling their money away. I like Venditti goes there, where it's like, yeah, Superman and Lois aren't rich guys. They work in the newspaper industry in 2020. They're just getting by too.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, I never thought of that. I want that story. I want the Superman with money troubles thing. Like, I need Superman to, like, scrape his pennies and be a real saver.
I want him to bring back as well, because, like, we've seen, like, their apartment and stuff, and it's like, oh, how do you afford this in, like, Metropolis stuff? I want to bring back, there was a thing, I don't know whether it's canon anymore, but, like, they got the apartment they were in because Bruce Wayne owns the building, and he gave it to them as, like, a wedding present.
Yeah, be like a rent-controlled building or something.
Yeah.
I want Superman with money troubles. I want Superman to be like, hey, you've been having lunch at the Justice League HQ like every week this week. What's up with that, man? Jesus Christ, man, are you hungry? do you need something, man? Like you're Superman. Are you okay? No, I'm fine, man. It's just hard holding down a job and everything and putting the son through school and saving the world. It's like, no, I get it, man. Do you need a loan? But like not from Batman who can afford it. It's like, the Flash. Do you need a loan, man? I put some money away from when my parents died. Do you like need a loan? I guess that's probably how they could spin it now in the New 52, though they can't anymore because they changed it. But I guess with Clark being an orphan, maybe if he got like a good life insurance policy from Ma and Pa, and if he was able to like, roll that into some good investments. Super investments. Superman, I peered into... Yeah, there you go. I peered into the future and saw what stocks were going to do good. I went out in space and asked some aliens, hey, what should I put my money into? And they're like, buy gold, Superman. He's like, okay, I will. Thanks, aliens. That's all he does. He just shouts into space. What should I put my money on? Soybean futures. Okay.
He gets Martian Manhunter to like look at the stocks and like use his powers to like manipulate them.
Hey John, let's go to Wall Street. Why? No reason. Hey, what's doing good there, buddy? What's doing good? Oreos. Put all your money in Oreos. Okay. All his stock advice is just cookie-based stock. Put it in milk. Put it in American dairy. I'm recognizing a theme here, John. It's all milk and cookie-based. As Luis is saying, the Kents were farmers, man. They probably didn't have very good insurance. Yeah, probably not.
No.
No, but again, that's two dead parents for the price of one. You put that in a good mutual fund. Yeah, ask Booster Gold for stock tips. Hey, Booster, who should I bet in this next upcoming sports game? Come on, don't dick me around, Booster. Tell me the truth, or so help me God, I will be coming back. The Batman one was pretty fun, too. The first one was like some reprints. The second one was actually a Clayface-centric story, which would have actually been a really cool mystery if they did not spoil the Clayface's involvement on the cover.
Yeah, I thought that, too. I still really liked the book. I enjoyed that Michael Gray knew well enough to like make Clayface kind of like this anti-hero, kind of sympathetic guy. He's not just... Because the book is set out like, it's like, oh... Is Clayface like now just like gone back to a villain? He's just straight up fucking murdering people and framing like movie stars and stuff. And then you find out like, oh no, this guy was like a sex weirdo, and there was like a Hollywood producer who was also a sex weirdo.
Yeah, he did it for a good reason and everything, and also did it to protect a piece of Gotham history that the man was going to tear down and build, a parking lot on. And even, too, the way Clayface gets out of it is he basically does his own version of The Prestige. He does his own Batman talking to Gordon to escape.
Yeah, I fucking love that he got out of that, but it was a good callback to him as that cop witnessing Batman escape. But also... that he got one over on Batman, and that probably didn't sit well with Batman, so he went and probably like beat the shit out of like a purse snatcher or something.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because like Batman, it's like he's almost like he's almost proud for a second, where it's like, smart motherfucker. He knew he's an actor. I bought his performance. There was a trap door here. He planned it all. Holy shit, I'm almost proud of him. And then he does that famous quote, every villain is a hero in their own story. Who wrote that quote? Probably some villain. Which I'm like, was that a joke, Batman? I dare say that was like half a joke.
I like to think like he thought of that in his head and he's just like started chuckling to himself, and like the cops around him are like what the fuck is this guy doing?
He's crazy, donuts. That was a way home where Batman was driving back to the cave and he thought of that like, oh shit, I better tell Alfred that later. Oh fuck, that was clever. I'm usually never that quick on the draw, but that was some good shit.
Maybe I'll call Jim Gordon and tell him it quickly.
Batman's journal. Oh no, wait, I'm not the Punisher who keeps a war journal. That's just where Frank keeps all his good zingers that he had a great joke today, didn't say it before I shot the guy, better write it down here. But yeah, so that was a fun one. I read the Flash one today, which, man, why haven't I been reading the Flash one sooner? Because friggin' Gail Simone is writing it.
Yeah, I would have thought that would have been like your first pick, yeah.
You would think.
Really damn good ones. Did you read the first one?
No, I read the second one today, but I know the first one had King Shark in it because Gail Simone fucking loves King Shark.
Yeah, this is absolutely not in continuity because this is like a early in his career Flash. So in the first one, he goes on like his first like kind of date with Iris. They go on like a 2-day like cruise down the eastern seaboard, and King Shark attacks, and Flash can't really do anything because there's water. If he gets pulled underwater, there's no friction or anything. It's actually really smart. He ends up running on King Shark to gain momentum to get out of it. But he finds out that like King Shark is only attacking the boat because the boat used to like dump its waste and shit in where he lived in international waters because it was cheaper to take the fine than get rid of it.
Those damn cruise companies, which we now know because of all the op-ed pieces, are actually pretty fucking evil and bad.
Yeah, so again, another very timely issue. And then this,
very much so.
This second one kind of follows on with that, where we have the big villain, which is Shift from the future, but also like a Barry Allen villain, which is like shifty carnival workers. Yeah,
I love that there. It's like, and who's really to blame? Carnival workers and their no safety. That's who you can blame. It was fun to see Barry like actually solve a mystery in that one, and the cops think he's crazy because the conclusion he comes to sounds stupid, but it's true.
Yeah, I was with that cop for a little bit. It's like, that sounds stupid. No way these kids were killed by a roller coaster here. But he's like got all this evidence that shows that they absolutely were.
Yep. Man, how come Barry Allen in the comics hasn't become like a true crime podcaster? If he ever gets kicked off the force, he would do really good with that, I think.
That he should do that like once he loses his powers. Like, well, I can't really be here. I'll be a true crime podcaster.
I mean, he's super fast too, so he could hammer out like a whole season's worth of making a murderer in like a week. That's what he does now. That's how he makes money. Like, man, my ad revenue is really rolling in. Hey, I'm Barry Allen. I used to work for the CCPD as a CSI. Now follow me along and hear my stories. And that's when the Flash came in, and he was very sexy and attractive, and he helped save everyone. I'm not the Flash, though, everybody, in case you're wondering. Friggin', what is it? Captain Cold is a huge fan of this podcast. I hate cops, but I love this podcast. Hey, I think Barry Allen might be the Flash.
Yeah, and now a word from our sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends.
Raycons, yeah. I'm Barry Allen, and when I'm out running around, I only listen to Raycons.
Yeah, but I don't run fast because I'm not the Flash.
No, definitely not. Could never be me. Yeah, man, everything is either Raid Shadow Legends now or Raycons. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, but that second issue was good, and it seems to be like the first of like a part of like a story with like Barry going to the future to fight Reverse Flash for the first time.
Yeah, because they make it sound like, A, he's never heard of Eobard Thawne before, and he has never, like, he's surprised at the concept of time travel, where you're like, really?
Yeah. Well, that's definitely a signal that this is a very out-of-continuity book, or a very early Flash.
Again, these were supposed to be these Walmart comics they were supposed to pick up and be able to read even if you had no knowledge of the Flash, and it would be put together with like several other Flash stories. What's really funny too about that is they're like, oh yeah, in the future there's this mad genius who learns about the Flash through a comic book, and it pushes him to experiment with the Speed Force and kill a bunch of people. Literally, the comic he's reading is the Walmart comic that this story came in originally.
Yeah, it wasn't the Speed Force that made him crazy, it was going to a Walmart that made him crazy.
And having Eobard Thawne was just a normal good dude, but then he had to dig through all the Yu-Gi-Oh cards to find the Flash book he really wanted, and by the end he was evil. Oh, the chat too got another one I forgot. Yes, Honey, that's right. Everything else is also sponsored by Honey.
Yeah.
Which I guess Honey must have gotten a good investor, because I remember when Honey was like kind of like a lesser known thing. I'm like, oh, this might be fun for me because I buy a lot of things online. Maybe I should try it out. Then a couple of years later, all these YouTubers I knew were shilling for Honey, and I'm like, oh, clearly they got some new capital if they could afford this.
I actually used Honey today to like buy a subscription to VMO so I could upload a video.
Nice. Hey, fucking Honey, sponsor us. What the hell, man? We're as good as all these other shows, aren't we?
Yeah, apparently.
Look, if you're out there and listen, if you work for Honey, man, come on. KT saying, hey, don't trash Walmart. They signed my checks. Hey, man, Walmart does a lot wrong, but I love being able to buy batteries, gummy worms, and tube socks all in the same place, as well as a replacement mic cord.
The funny thing is that all of those things are the same things at Walmart.
Yes, absolutely. Man, they were supposed to build a Walmart in my town for like 5 years, and like it was just the most cursed endeavor ever. They couldn't get the land zoning right, then they couldn't get the sewage right, so they basically just had mounds of dirt sitting like a block from my house for like ever, and it's still just sitting there completely empty, barren land they've done nothing with. I think they're gonna turn it into condos, maybe, I don't know.
The Walmart condos.
The Walmart condos, which again, I was super on board with that because I'm like, fuck yeah, Walmart gonna get me some good ass deals on electronics and everything else when I need it. But then in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh, that's also gonna kill Main Street and all the normal stores I go to. But hey, I can sell my house then for like for some good money then, or my condo, because at least it'll be by the Walmart. It'll be Walmart adjacent.
Yeah, God, I remember I watched a documentary. I can't remember who did it, but it was about like the guy who made Walmart and like the hometown he lived in and where the first Walmart was, and how it like almost to like a level of criminal like activity like ran all of the like other smaller businesses out of town.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I believe I saw the same one. It's the Walton family. Mm-hmm. And oh yeah, the way they do things, it's quite devious. They show up, undersell everyone else on Main Street, kill all the mom and pop businesses, which means if those people want to work and make money, they have to go and work at the Walmart that destroyed their businesses.
Mm-hmm. Yep, for less money.
Which means for less money and no benefits, or very few benefits, because Walmart is one of those companies where it's like, hey, we'll keep you working just long enough so we don't have to give you benefits.
Yep.
They're famous for that one. We love hiring young kids and old people and, you know, like the mentally disabled, because, you know, we can shit on them all the time and they won't say anything about it.
Yeah, and they probably get kickbacks as well for hiring them.
Without a doubt. They take out life insurance policies on you. If you work for Walmart, there's a good chance they have a life insurance policy on you don't know about.
So if you die in a horrible car wreck in the Walmart car park.
Yep. They will make some money off you. In fact, do you know what they call those policies, those life insurance policies they take out of you on Walmart? They have a special name.
Oh, really? What are they?
Try and guess. What's the most, like, heartless thing you could think that they could call it?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not familiar with Walmart all that much.
They call them dead peasant policies.
Jesus Christ.
That's an internal thing at the Walmart brass. They call it that. The dead peasant policy. Holy fuck. That is some super villain shit. Like Dr. Doom would call one of his doomsday weapons that and be like, nah, man, too much.
Oh, yeah, he wouldn't even do that.
Dr. Doom and the Kingpin are like, whoa, we're not monsters now. Even we don't take out life insurance policies on our henchmen, although maybe we should. Yeah. So those digital comics are good. You read some ones I didn't, because I only read those 3.
Yeah, I read the Wonder Woman one, Agent of Peace, which I'm really shocked that you're not reading, because it's by Jimmy Palmiotti and Amanda Connor.
Here's the thing, they really fucked me up because I was waiting for them to be collected once the Walmart runs were done, and now they're putting them out on digital, and now I'm actually having a hard time keeping up. But yeah, tell me all about it.
Yeah, so there's been 2 issues of this so far, and so far it seems to be Wonder Woman teaming up with another female hero or female character from the DC universe, and the first one being Harley Quinn teams with her to save Harley Quinn's Coney Island residence from like an evil real estate mogul who's hired assassins to kill her so he can swoop in and take the property for real cheap.
And because Palmiotti and Connor wrote that book too.
Mm-hmm. The second one is about Wonder Woman rescuing Lois Lane from a Himalayan like snow monster that has been created just to feed on humans.
Oh.
Yeah, it's very very dark.
I like it.
Yeah, they're both really, really cool Wonder Woman stories, and kind of lives up to that name, Agent of Peace, because throughout both issues, she's trying to dissolve situations without using violence or resorting to like using her powers or anything, just trying to talk things out, but never really kind of works out that way.
At least she tries. Yeah, the subtitle game is really strong on those digital books, isn't it? You know, Man of Tomorrow, Fastest Man Alive, Gotham Knights with an S and everything, and now Agent of Peace.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was also an Aquaman one and a Swamp Thing one. You've been reading those too?
Yep. The Aquaman one, the first issue. The second issue's out. I haven't read that one yet. The first issue is just a kind of cut and dry Black Manta versus Aquaman. You know, they just fight over this. Black Manta's found a weapon that he thinks could probably kill Aquaman. It's like a spear that was given to Atlantis by the Myrmazons, which is like mermaid Amazons. And
gotta love it.
Again, Aquaman's trying to tell him, don't use a weapon, it'll kill you, because what the weapon is, it's like a hunting spear, and it can only be used by people who need something. So like it's mainly used for hunting. So like when it was used for hunting, it would give people great wealth in like food and stocks and stuff like that. So they could survive. But when Black Manta uses it, he uses it for selfish reasons. So it takes, and it like causes him to almost starve to death and go blind and all that sort of stuff.
Can't catch a break, Black Manta, can he?
Yeah, so that was a pretty cool issue. The Swamp Thing one again was really good because it's written by Mark Russell.
Yes, which makes me think I gotta check this out. Are these one and dones, or do they have recurring characters?
This is the second issue I flicked through, and there is reoccurring characters in this one. So I think the story is like there's like a broad stroke story, which is with the Sunderland Food Company, which is creating the Terminus seed, which will apparently kill off all plant life on Earth, but also kill itself off, so farmers have to keep buying from Sunderland. Swamp Thing's like, I ain't having any of that shit, so he's like destroying all their factories. And this first issue, he's destroying all the stuff, and they're trying to come up with a plan to kill him, or like capture him, because they want to capture him and use his DNA to create slave harvesters that will harvest themselves for food.
Oh shit.
And as we learn that like Alec, because he used to be human, and that's the thing with this Swamp Thing, there definitely was a difference between Alec Holland and Swamp Thing. It's not that whole thing where Swamp Thing thinks he was Alec Holland but he wasn't. Right.
They change that all the time.
Yeah, Alec hates what humans have become, and the hate is like driving him to almost kill them, but he keeps bottling up the hate and everything into his heart, which is a beet. And and every now and then when the heart becomes too full, he has to rip it out and like cast off the hate. And as this voodoo priest that was living with him, Fatima, finds out the heart could like probably give her power, so she betrays him to Sunderland and tries to eat the heart for the power, but fails to realize that the heart is full of hate, so it's toxic, and it ends up putting her into a death-like coma. And it's really cool because it happens when Swamp Thing is knocked out from the exact same toxin, because she was going to give him up to Sunderland, and he wakes up thinking that Fatima died protecting him, when really she was the one behind it all. So he like buries her, and she's still alive in her coffin and everything, because she wakes up after a while. So it's kind of like sealing your own fate sort of thing. Like hate saved Swamp Thing but damned someone else.
Oh, that sounds like some good Vertigo horror shit is what that sounds like.
Yeah, it's really cool. I don't know what the second issue's like, but I imagine it's pretty damn good as well.
I can dig on that. Yeah, I might have to check those out. I mean, I really might have to check those out if I need more content on my channel.
Well, we're getting comics very soon. I think this next coming week we're starting to see the return of comics, so that's good.
Yeah, there was the Marvel solicitation. There's not a lot, but you're going to get one of those Empire books, and you're going to get some other stuff.
Yeah, it means I need to read Road to Empire, I guess.
Yeah, no, it was good. I liked Road to Empire.
Yeah, I got to get back to reading them.
I enjoyed it. It was a good little history lesson. I guess, too, what is it? We saved this for the end of the show because I know a lot of people haven't had a chance to watch it yet, although it's a prequel, so you probably know how it's all going to end one way or another. Clone Wars had its last 2 episodes this week. Obviously, they had one that aired on its regular day, Friday, and then they had another one that's supposed to air tomorrow on May the 4th, Star Wars Day, although some people already had a chance to see it, like Matt, who lives in the future land of Australia. So I thought might be fun to talk about these last 2 episodes. Shattered and Victory and Death are what they're called.
Yeah, so these last 2 episodes... These last 2 episodes specifically were like completely different to everything else before it.
Oh yeah. This whole arc is basically like, yo, let's make a movie like those other 2 arcs we had. Hey, here's just some story arcs from Clone Wars we never got to do. This last arc with the Siege of Mandalore and Order 66 is straight up, let's just make a fucking movie, so much to the point let's have the original Lucasfilm logo attached to it.
It feels like it's well, the way it was like presented, it feels like they could easily just grab these and like cut them all into one long episode, one long movie, basically.
I feel like that was maybe the plan, and you know it was because you don't even have the regular, like, previously on fucking Clone Wars, this shit. Yeah, they dropped that guy completely.
Yeah, and for the better as well, because it's not kind of like that adventure serial which the Clone Wars always was. It's kind of a bit more solemn. You know what's going to happen.
Very.
And it's not going to be pretty.
The main theme here is tragedy. Tragedy for everyone, and tragedy in ways you don't expect. We see the Siege of Mandalore, and Bo-Katan's like, cool, I liberated my planet, this is great, and Mandalore will live in peace forever. No, you won't.
No, we know what's going to happen. She doesn't, but she kind of has an idea that things have changed now.
It's only... I love, too, Gar Saxon there in the background, like, oh, hey, look, we arrested Gar Saxon. Oh, he's going to be running this place under the Empire in a couple years.
Yeah, he's going to get out of fucking prison, and the Empire's probably just going to free him and just say, go rule this and we'll pay you under the table.
Well, it's funny. The idea there seemed to be is the Mandalorians are like, oh, you know, we don't like these clones here. Oh, these clones can't leave soon enough. The clones never leave because they become the Imperial military and they just occupy the planet for the next decade.
Yeah, until the Great Purge happens.
Yeah, where they get fucked, and then where it's like, okay, well, what happened after that? Oh, then they just, you know, lived in sewers and everything in the Mandalorian, and they became weird-ass nomads.
Yeah.
So, tragedy. Then you, of course, have the tragedy of Ahsoka and her doomed relationship with Anakin Skywalker, her friend and mentor. And, oh man, there's several times during this where she could have told someone important information and it might have changed everything. But she doesn't, and she does it because she respects her friendship and she doesn't want to hurt Anakin because, again, she got kicked out by the Order just by screwing up one time. She didn't even screw up. She got framed and they stripped her of everything. So when she hears like, oh yeah, Darth Sidious, fucking Anakin, you know, might actually bring down the Jedi, she A, doesn't want to believe it, and B, she's like, well, maybe let's not blow this out of proportion too soon.
Well, not only that, like the second last episode, there's that moment with where she's talking, where it's actually in episode 3, where we don't see it in episode 3, where she's talking with Mace and all that, and just like how like arrogant and like full of themselves they are. They're like, oh, we don't need this citizens' help, you know, we're the Jedi.
Yeah, Mace really fucking talks down to her.
Yeah, that's the one thing I've completely enjoyed out of like the prequel trilogy, and like this stuff is just showing like the arrogance and hubris of especially Mace Windu. He's just so full of himself and thinks because he's a Jedi Master, he knows what's best.
And again, minutes later, he will be dead after that conversation.
So crazy to think that, eh?
That scene is brilliant too, how they staged it. Like, they really need like all the credit in the world for how they figured it out, where it's like, here is this scene from Revenge of the Sith where Mace Windu's like, hey, I should probably go confront the Chancellor, and then be like, okay, so this person will leave, and then Ahsoka will come in and catch the end of the conversation, then they'll all leave, but Yoda will stick around for a few minutes more.
I've seen someone intercut it with episode 3, and it fits perfectly. I think they worked it out. If Ahsoka had stayed for like 30 seconds more, she would have run into Anakin.
Which again makes it even more tragic because that's all she wanted to do.
Yep.
is, to try and warn him about all of this is going down and how she might have been able to change it. Again, keeping on the tragedy train, the tragedy of Darth Maul, the man who basically his entire history is that he has been a puppet on a string. He has been a tool to Sidious, a tool to the Night Sisters, a tool to Ahsoka by the end of this.
Not only that, it's really interesting to compare the parallels between her and Maul, because both of them fucked up once. Or Ahsoka didn't even really fuck up, but
she was framed.
They fucked up once, and they were just completely like cast aside by their masters.
Oh yeah, I mean, Maul even says it there, where it's like, we are the Phantom Apprentices, you and I, we're more alike. And you always get that in Star Wars, and you always get that in other movies when the villain does the "we're not so different, you and I" speech. But here, I didn't really think about it. Here, I'm like, yeah, you are actually a lot of like, honestly.
Yeah.
And again, too, where Maul's like, no, I know everything that's going to go down with Sidious. I'm pretty sure I know what's going to go down with Order 66. If you join me, we can probably stop it. And the only thing that stops her from actually joining up with Darth Maul and probably saving the whole universe is he talks shit about Anakin.
Yep.
He talks shit about her Jedi dad, and that pisses her off.
Yeah, if he just kept his mouth closed, we could have had this. Could have had like a completely different universe, and hopefully I really want them to bring back the Star Wars Infinities comics and do that, where it's like Ahsoka decided to go with Maul and they team up and they like go to Coruscant and like kill Palpatine or something.
Yeah, how would that have changed things?
Yeah, or like Anakin and Obi-Wan end up coming to Mandalore instead, and Ahsoka helps them and they end up killing Maul, and because he's there, the Chancellor and all that stuff that's happening with Grievous doesn't happen.
Yeah, they actually do manage to arrest him and they change all of history.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty fucking cool. Also, man, that lightsaber fight scene between Maul and Ahsoka, just fucking balls to the wall.
Oh, they
awesome.
went all out with that. Did you see the mocap behind the scenes stuff for that?
I did. For people who are wondering, it's like, wow, this fight scene doesn't look like anything else in the show. Yeah, because they mocapped real people for it.
Yeah, they mocapped Ray Park as Darth Maul again.
Which is so cool that he kind of gets redeemed in this too and kind of gets to come back to the park. In fact, Maul even does the thing with his lightsaber. He like sparks it the same way he does in Phantom Menace.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of the same moves. Really damn cool fight, and it was a little bit jarring seeing like the past lightsaber fights and then seeing this, how like the past ones were like really kind of like blocky and choppy and everything. There was like parts where you could tell it's like, oh, that's the end of one animation and now they're going into the other animation, whereas this one was all like one fluid movement. It was so cool.
Oh yeah. Also, too, Ahsoka has a moment where she could have killed Darth Maul, but didn't, which actually recolors their fight they have later in Rebels. There's a lot of these last 4 episodes that recolor a ton of stuff from Rebels.
I'm gonna go back and watch Rebels, I think.
I did go back and watch 2 episodes in particular, but we'll get to those in a minute. But yeah, so Maul is captured, Mandalore is saved, and then they're like, all right, I guess we're going to go back to the Republic now as heroes. Yep, nothing can, dampen our spirits. Hey, Rex, what are you going to do now that the war is over and all the clones are free and everything? I guess you're going to live a normal, happy life now, aren't you? Yep, sure are. Initiate Order 66, kill all the Jedi. Ah, fuck.
I liked the second last episode just because of like we all knew it was coming, and like
that was my favorite one,
and it was just so ominous with like the music, which was like this kind of like synthy evangelist fucking Blade Runner type music, very solemn.
It's like a horror movie. You're on the edge of your seat because you know it's literally the Star Wars version of "Don't go in there, don't answer the phone, don't go in there." and like here too, like in fact, I'll say this is better than the Revenge of the Sith one because I care more about Rex and Ahsoka than I cared about the characters in that movie when they all got shot in the back. So it was a big deal, especially when they reaffirmed their friendship. And Ahsoka's like, "Wow, Rex, I've known you basically all my life. You're such a dear friend and war buddy to me." And Rex is like, I've literally known you my whole life, kid.
Yeah. It's so, yeah, again, Clone Wars did a wonder for these characters. Again, like, you watch, like, Revenge of the Sith, and you're like, oh, I don't really care about any of these clones. They're just, stormtroopers, who gives a shit, like, about any of them. But then you watch the Clone Wars and how it, like, humanized all these characters, all these clones, and made each one, even though they were all the same person, made each one of them different. Yeah.
Which, shit, man, hats off to Diedrich Barber for his fucking acting.
Yeah.
Again, too, another absolutely genius thing that they write into here, which I never would have thought of, but it is so freaking inspired, where it's like, okay, well, how does Ahsoka find out about Anakin turning to the dark side and Vader and the death of Mace Windu and everything? And that is both her and Maul, as the only two Force users on the ship. They feel it. They feel the psychic screams. They feel the disturbance in the Force, so that's how they get up to speed.
Yeah, so we get dialogue, we get actual audio from Revenge of the Sith, as well as like an Anakin line that's a combination of Hayden Christensen and Matt Lander, which sounded really weird, but also really clever. Cool.
And again, it makes sense too, where it's like, yeah, we set up these two as apprentices, and their connection to their masters is what allowed them to hear this very pivotal moment in Star Wars history. And it's also kind of a callback to old Ben Kenobi. It's like, it sounded like 1,000 screams that were all silenced. Mm-hmm. Loved it. Loved that to death. We do run into a mild bit of discontinuity, but this didn't bug me, because like in Rebels, Rex was always saying like, ooh, I never turned against my Jedi, and I cut my own control chip out. You kind of did attack your Jedi. She wasn't technically a Jedi at the time, yes. But you did, and you didn't cut it out. She helped you, but whatever.
Yeah, well, they probably didn't have this written by then. There's also like discontinuity with like the Ahsoka novel, but I technically don't count that Ahsoka novel as canon now, since so much has changed.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it enough to not give a shit about it. Also, too, even like the original trilogy has discontinuity with Leia saying like she remembers her mom and shit, and like 1,000 generations versus 1,000 years. That's just Star Wars. We'll just put that over here in the box of stuff that doesn't really make sense when you think about it, but it's fine. It's fine. It's a cool scene. I like that she helps, and I like, too, that we get that kind of Rogue One reference, too. I am one with the Force is one with me, I am one with the Force.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that the chip is not one with the Force, that is an abnormality and everything, and that by doing that, they're able to find it.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty damn cool. And I like when he changed, when he got the message from Sidious, how there was like that second where he like kind of realized what was happening, realized because of what happened with Fives and whatnot, and was able to tell Ahsoka what happened, like remember Fives and what happened there.
It's so cool that they were able to bring that storyline to a close, because I think so much of this last season was about Rex and putting stuff to bed with him as a character, like with Echo and the Bad Batch and everything, and finishing off that storyline, and also finishing off the Five story, which I think more than anything else was a story that fans were afraid would never get a resolution.
Yeah, and it got like the best resolution it could.
It was the most important thing. That's why Ahsoka and Rex were able to survive, because Fives didn't die in vain.
Yeah, there's also a nice little bit of continuity there, where like in Rebels, when we meet Rex, he's Captain Rex, but like in the last couple episodes he got promoted to Commander here. But there's like a line where he talks about how he's not going to be a commander now because he ends up fighting against Jesse and the others, so he kind of goes against his rank and gets demoted.
I loved that too, because they kept calling him Captain Rex even in Rebels, and it's just like, oh yeah, of course they did. This promotion didn't last because he technically went rogue, and he said, you will be demoted and executed alongside the Jedi if you do not follow Order 66. And I'm like, oh, that's fun. He gets to go back to being Captain Rex.
Yeah, what he always is.
That's what he always is, what he'll always be. Maul does get one tiny victory here. He gets a cool-ass hallway fight. He figures, well, if I can't escape, I'm just going to kill everyone on this big ship. And then he finally does manage to escape, making it the one victory he's actually won this whole time.
Yeah, he kind of does like a bit of a Star Killer reference, Force Unleashed reference, where he pulls the Venator out of the sky by like destroying its hyperdrive.
Yep. And then I'm thinking to myself, like, but it's not a real victory for Maul. He survived today. He'll go and reestablish his crime syndicate only for the Empire to crush it in a couple years. Then he'll go to that Sith cave from Rebels and get old and crazy and wait for Ezra to come and find the holocron. And then he'll die on Tatooine to the same guy who cut him in half.
Yeah. See, again, like, there's still, like, little bits in there that you can fill in for Maul's story.
God,
I really hope we get to see more, whether it be in animation with Sam Witwer or like live action with like the Crimson Dawn stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean honestly, I think they've made Maul an interesting enough character.
Oh, yeah.
I would watch the Maul show. I guess you could call it Star Wars Red Dawn, and you could have it be, and Dryden Voss could be a supporting character. I'd watch that.
Yeah, Dryden Voss was actually in one of these episodes as well.
He was
for a brief moment.
Blink and you'll miss it. Yeah, have it be about the last days of the Red Dawn Syndicate. Have it be like, oh yeah, you know, criminal cartels like us won't be able to make it into the future because the Empire's, you know, cracking down on all crime that's not their own.
Mm-hmm.
I would like that. Again, keep it being about Maul's weird, like, shadow war with the Emperor. That'd be fun.
Yeah, dive into, like, some of the Sith stuff and, like what he's become as, like, a Sith Lord.
Mm-hmm. Again, you know, how did he eventually find out about the holocron in that temple? No, they actually do explain that in the comic. Palpatine took him there early on in their career, actually. They explain that in one of the Darth Maul comics, actually.
Yeah.
You see, Maul and Palpatine went there, and there was a big Jedi Sith fight there, and there's crossed lightsabers there, and that was pretty fun.
Yeah, there you go. You need to find out, like, I can't remember whether we find out like who the Inquisitor he is. Who he kills to get that part of the lightsaber for his new double-ended staff.
Oh, right.
I don't think we ever found out who that was.
Yeah, they could do some shit with that. There'd be places to go. Yeah, because Maul's lightsaber changes. Here it's his old one, but by the time we see it again in Rebels, it's like a cane and shit.
Yeah. He's got one part I think is his original, but the other part is like one that looks like an Inquisitor's. It's got like that half circle sort of thing on it.
Right. There's definitely places they could go with that. Even the droids get shit to do in this final episode, which I was not expecting. And it's funny, we can't kill off any of the main characters, but you better believe we can kill us some droids.
You know, you say you don't expect that stuff, like, with the droids, but, like, I kind of did. I'm like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. There were so many episodes in Clone Wars which were about, like, droids or, like, lesser, like, character, like, little aliens, like, what's his name? That, General Grebe? What was it? No, him and R2 went on that mission, and he's like a cowardly general. What was his name?
Right, yeah, I remember.
He like hid in the astromech, and they were like infiltrating a droid outpost or something.
Yes, I vaguely remember that. But it's funny, too, because I'm pretty sure one of those droids is actually voiced by Dave Filoni.
Yeah, well, maybe the chopper one.
There you go. It's great, too, because it's like, you know, Ahsoka doesn't want to hurt the clones. I mean, these are guys who were her friends, who were her, you know, brothers in arms, who painted their face in tribute to her not a moment earlier, and are now trying to kill her. And I think it's so funny where it's like, no, we must shoot to stun. We can't possibly, you know, kill these clones. We love them too much. But when it comes to droids, it's like, but droids have thoughts and feelings and personalities. Fuck them.
Yeah, kill those droid filth.
Yeah, they're not real people. I'm like, man, Star Wars, you're funny like that, Star Wars.
Yeah.
Clones have, what is it, you know, hearts and feelings and personalities. Droids, meh. And, so, I mean, all of this, too, it kind of feels like Speed, because the final episode is all built around them in, like, a starship that's falling, and they're like, you know, how are we going to escape without getting killed? And I'm like, ooh, what a fun ticking clock to put on that.
Yeah, and it looked amazing. It looked so damn good.
Really
like especially once they finally get into that Y-wing and like Ahsoka's like falling through all the debris as it falls through the atmosphere. That was so good looking.
And hey, good writing too, because as we set up during the first episode of Siege of Mandalore, she can do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, all through the show, we've shown how much, like, if this was season 1 Ahsoka, she wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah, exactly. They've set that up in a really interesting way. And, the funeral scene. Oh, that shedded my fucking heart when they were on that planet and they dug through the wreckage and found all the helmets of all the clones and set them up. and they had a little funeral for Jesse and the rest. Oh my god.
Yeah, her people basically, because they got
Yeah.
got all the Ahsoka squad, got all the markings on their helmet and stuff, and yeah, set them all up. Had Rex and her bury 'em. Damn.
Yeah. And then she leaves her lightsaber behind because it was a gift from Anakin, and Anakin is dead now, and Anakin did this, essentially, in the greater scheme of things. And I'm thinking, like, oh, what a nice little touch there. But, but then they do more. Then they jump ahead in time, and you know it's ahead in time because it's winter now on this planet, and Vader and the 501st show up to dig through the wreckage, and he finds it, and then I'm like, oh, okay, that's why he never looked for her and Rex, because he assumed, oh, well, they're dead.
Yeah, he assumed they're dead, and I think that was also partly the reason why she left the saber as well, to say like, okay, someone's probably going to try and find me. I'll leave the saber here and make it look like it died.
And it's a brilliant scene, too, because you can interpret it in a number of ways. You can interpret it as, Anakin still did very much care for Ahsoka and Rex and wanted to find them, to be like, okay, well, maybe I can talk them into joining me and everything. Or you can interpret it as, like, Darth Vader being like, no, I need to find and kill them because they are the last people who knew the real Anakin.
Yeah, like him hunting down, like this is like one of his many missions where he found out that, like, Ahsoka's ship that had Maul on it crashed on this planet, so him and the 501st go and try and figure out what happened or something.
Because these people are actual real threats to me, because they knew who I was in an old life, and I have to hunt them down and kill them. And then the last thing, Matt, I was not expecting this last thing. I literally jumped in my seat when I saw it, because it called back to a thing I had totally forgot about, but a thing that I was absolutely obsessed with. Vader looks up in the sky, and he sees an owl flying around. And I'm like, oh, the fucking owl. You're probably thinking, well, the fucking owl. It's the owl. What does the owl mean? And some people, I'm sure, forgot what the owl means because they didn't love Rebels as much as you and I did. But the owl was all over the big fight that Ahsoka and Vader have later on in Rebels. We see it at the beginning of the episode. We see it at the end when Vader walks out and, Ahsoka is assumed dead. We see it again in the final episode when, Ahsoka and Ezra are walking through the space between spaces and everything. The owl is there again.
Yeah, and again, like the shot set up so it looks like Vader sees this and maybe just assumes it could, again, assume Vader might think it's just, oh, this is like a vulture or something to like a signify death because it's circling and stuff, or he could realize that, like, oh, this is tied to Ahsoka, this means she's still out there.
So are we thinking, like, is this like a straight up, again, is it like an artsy thing where it's like the owl just represents their relationship because, the owl is beautiful, but it's also a bird of prey and it's nocturnal and everything? Or are we thinking this is a force power that Ahsoka gets later that we don't know about? And that is, can she, like, warg into the owl? Can she see through it? Is she looking at Vader right now and he doesn't know what that means, but he will know what it means in the future? And that's why the owl found Ezra to save her from her moment of death at the hands of Vader. I don't know. There's a lot to think about, and I need to get my string theory board out.
I just think the owl I think it just represents like a living embodiment of the Force, kind of like Jedi Bendu.
Yeah, that's, you know what, I like that, actually. It is the good part of the Force. It's there when people need it, and that's why, it led Ezra through, and that's why, basically it helped save save Ahsoka at the end of Rebels.
Or again, you could even look at it as like that's the light side of the Force, and it's still around Anakin and in Anakin, but it's far off in above him.
Right, and it only comes at times when he's challenged and everything. That's why it showed up at the beginning of that episode and at the end, because when he fights Ahsoka in the future in that awesome, I think it was called Twilight of the Apprentices, his mask gets knocked off for a second, and he starts speaking in the old Anakin voice, and that's what actually stops Ahsoka for a second, because, she sees Anakin inside him, and it's this great scene.
Yep.
Because he became himself for a second, and maybe in that moment he was himself, too, when he mourned his friend. Yeah, and then walked away. The final shot is amazing because it's the Ahsoka troop. It's one of those painted helmets covered in ice, and you see Vader's reflection as he walks away.
That's that perfect ending shot for the Clone Wars, because that is the ending of the Clone Wars. Yep. The clones are cast aside, and Vader like rises and
Reigns
takes
supreme.
over. That's perfect shot.
We say it's the end, but they totally do an episode of Rebels where Rex and the other guys fight one last commander droid, and that's technically the end of the Clone Wars. But they wrote that before this. they wrote that when they thought that would be the last they ever got to do. Again, too, if we want to split hairs about discontinuity in that fight in Rebels, when Ahsoka meets Vader again, she says, this time I'm not going to leave you. Well, technically in Season 5, you walked away when we thought that was the last word going to be written on it, but you actually did see him again, so But you can interpret it multiple ways. It's fine.
I mean, it could have been a much larger like continuity clusterfuck, but for what they've done, it's pretty damn good.
It is. It's pretty airtight, and again, like that works really well in that scene, and the scenes here really work in this. So I'm not going to be too mad at it. Yeah. So, any other thoughts on this besides that it was a great end to Clone Wars?
Yeah, no, it was so damn cool. It was so damn. I was a little bit disappointed with like that middle arc. I didn't much care for that. Like that, I don't know why that was there. That was very strange.
We talked about. I mean, I get why it was there, and we talked about it before. They're trying to show Ahsoka the other side of the universe and the injustice that the Jedi don't stop and everything, and why people would be willing to accept Imperial rule. But again, you took 4 episodes to do something you could say in one.
Yeah, or 1 or 2, yeah. And really, they probably should have just stayed on Coruscant, like, under the Jedi rule to show what it was like, instead of, going to different spice planets and whatnot.
Yeah, which again, it's fun because we got to see Kessel for a minute, and we got to do all this other stuff, but I agree. You could have probably done that all on Coruscant if you really had to.
Yeah, but no, this final arc, these final episodes were just a completely different animal from what we'd seen before, and made up for it.
Yeah, beautiful send-off. If you watch nothing else, watch these last 4 episodes. In fact, I feel that's how a lot of people enjoyed Clone Wars anyway, by picking and choosing, where it's like, okay, here's a Jar Jar Binks Mace episode, here's a droid episode, here's one about Darth Maul and his brother. Ooh, I know which one I'm watching.
Yeah, there's actually, I wonder if someone's updated yet, because I remember I found like these really great like guide to Clone Wars, and it's like, if you want to watch the whole season but not all the episodes, these are like the main arcs you need to watch to understand the entire show. And it was really well done, because it separated them and told you exactly what was in that arc. So you'd be like, oh, watch this arc where Savage Opress and Darth Maul fight Darth Sidious and whatnot.
And it's really fucking cool. I guess we never got another Cad Bane nor Asajj Ventress episode, which kind of bugs me a little bit. Yeah, I know they kind of deal with her fate in a book. Is that book canon? I know we've talked about this.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, it is her and Quentin Voss. But she doesn't die at the end of that, though. Like, she almost does, but she kind of has, like, a fake death moment.
Yeah, I think it's left ambiguous. But until someone, like, does something else with her, I'm just going to assume she's dead.
Right, because I think she has a moment in that book where she's like, get me the fuck away from these Clone Wars. Get me out of here. And I'm like, that's fine. She deserves that. She can have that moment. You would probably know better than me, Matt, and again, too, maybe we won't know till Star Wars Celebration or anything. Are there any new animated Star Wars things in development? Because with this done, this will be the longest there hasn't been, anything new animated Star Wars in development.
They're all just rumors from, like, random fucking Patreon scoopers and whatnot about like, but the one thing that like is kind of consistent with all of them is that it's going to be like a Rebel sequel.
Well, they have to do that because Rebels left on such a huge cliffhanger.
Yeah, picking up most of them, but then also then you've got the stuff where like, oh, apparently like Ahsoka is in The Mandalorian season 2.
Yeah.
So like, will it take place before or after that? Because that's around the same time Ahsoka would have been heading off into the unknown regions.
Yeah, we got to square that circle. Also, too, how far up to the new movies is Rebels willing to touch? Because, again, isn't Palpatine and that planet also out there in the unknown regions? Are we going to talk about that?
Yeah, and I mean, the ghost is in Rise of Skywalker, so...
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Hera and Kanan had a kid. Is that kid going to be, like, all grown up by the time we eventually pick up with that show?
Yeah.
Are we going to have a very uncomfortable conversation about human-alien hybridization?
Hey, we already had that sort of stuff with that clone who married that.
That's true.
That Twi'lek
that
and
lady. That's true. Again, who wants to have that episode? Well, you see, when a Terran Earthling loves an alien woman very much, they put their parts together and just kind of hope for the best. And sometimes shit happens, and sometimes it doesn't. A lot of trial and error out here in space. Why do I feel when space travel becomes a thing, that's going to be the first thing? Like, okay, can we trade resources? Do we speak the same language? Can we safely fuck each other? Can we, though?
You're not going to, like,
try that out
or spit acid at me.
Yeah, really. Do we got to worry about that? Are you like one of those Amazon toads where am I going to trip balls for a little bit? Because I'm not against it. I'm just saying. Probably good to know. It's probably, take 3 hours out of my schedule just for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I would love some more Rebels. Because again, as much as I like Clone Wars, I definitely like Rebels more because they were new characters who weren't connected to the prequels. Which, even though Clone Wars the series did a lot to redeem a lot of stuff from the prequels.
Oh, absolutely! It fleshed out so much stuff from those films and it retroactively made them better. They're still not very good films, but like it made them at least passable. Where you can go back and watch them and be like, that gets a payoff in this episode of the Clone Wars.
And all it took was 7 seasons of television spread out over almost a decade, because we all thought 6 was going to be the last one.
Over
then Disney out of the blue. Yeah, over a decade, because then out of the blue, Disney's like, fuck it, do a last season.
Yeah, why not? Yeah. That'd be cool if we got like a Rebels, another Rebels series, or I'd like I have a feeling they're probably going to be doing something with the High Republic, because that's like their next big push with their comics and novels and all that sort of stuff. They had a big push on that, so they'd be stupid not to do a show set in there.
Hell, as crazy as it is, just adapt what Jason Aaron wrote for in between the Star Wars movies. I'd watch that if they put that to animation.
That'd be pretty cool. People keep wanting them, and I agree. They want them to do like an animated series in the style of those Galaxy of Adventures shorts. Have you seen any of them? They are so damn good. They look so cool.
Yeah, they really, really do. But yeah, so that's the show for this week, everyone. We hope you enjoyed it. We managed to talk for a while, which is rare and rare in this day where news is hard to come by because nothing is happening everywhere forever.
Yeah, but it should start to pick up because we got new comics coming out very soon. This week, I think, is when they all start back.
Yeah, that's the hope, and then maybe we can go outside again. Maybe. Hey, Joel, what have you been getting into during this quarantine? Cheez-Its, mostly. I've been getting into a lot of them. I've been finishing a lot of the different flavors, contrasting and comparing.
Is there going to be a new video on your channel, like, comparing the different Cheetos?
I'm not that desperate yet, but if this goes on any longer, maybe.
What you need to do, since they seem to be very popular, you need to do like a Cheeto mukbang.
Oh,
get like 50 pounds of Cheetos and just crush them up and snort them or something. I don't know. I don't know what they do in those videos.
Wear a suit, snort them and everything.
Yeah.
Just start talking like Tony Montana. What could go wrong? Nothing at all, I think. So again, thank you everyone for watching and listening. Really appreciate you coming by, especially because we didn't have a show next week. We're gonna have a show live again next week. Should in case I assume so. If nothing goes wrong,
If the world ends in nuclear apocalypse before then, you'll know there's no show.
Yeah, or if them murder hornets get us.
Oh yeah, no, you gotta watch out for them murder hornets.
Gotta watch out for them murder hornets. No, murder hornets coming to get you. Watch out. Led by me, Waspinator. Yes, I've been sitting on this voice for this long, and I've had no reason to do it until now.
Yeah, finally, someone who remembers Beast Wars in the comments is vindicated.
They're so fucking happy. The 2 people who enjoy that are enjoying it so hard right now. But yes, as always, if you're a patron, you can get this episode first before anyone else. We've actually been getting a lot of new patrons recently. I'm assuming both for this show and for Capes and Quests that have come back. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it in these trying times because it helps me pay Matt and helps me keep shit online and everything. So that's good shit. Thank you.
That's cool. I gotta like come and join you for Capes and Quests one time.
Yeah, I'll have to work that in to get you as a guest character in an episode. You can be like, and in this special episode featuring... my players are psychopaths, though, where it's like, we killed the new player. Oh, come on!
I'm sure I'll be, I don't know, forced to be given drugs or something.
Oh, yeah, where it's like, you're not a cop, though, right, man? You're not a guard. Hit this shit. Just becomes the fantasy version of Training Day. Oh my god, in that last episode, friggin' Kirk's like, I destroy the floor. What? Yeah, I destroy the floor. Well, he'll fall down then if I destroy the floor. Okay. Thorgy, hey, so there was like a trash can fire over there, right? Yeah, there was a trash can fire there. I pick up the man and throw him in the trash fire. And I'm like, if you can pass your strength, and you pass your strength check. Fuck. I guess you throw him in the fire.
This sounds exactly like how I play Dungeons and Dragons.
It's the best kind of madness. That's why I've completely leaned into it. I'm like, look, you're basically doing fantasy Grand Theft Auto now. You're doing jobs for different criminal figures.
Yeah, I played one where like there was like a town and there was like a building with a bunch of guards, and I decided my character would be, it wasn't acrobatic or anything, decided to scale the wall and pry off the roof tiles and break in to steal some wine.
There you go. That's the fun shit. All right, everyone. You can listen to this and Capes and Quests over on Patreon for as little as $1 a month. Must appreciate it. Everyone else, you'll get it Wednesday, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And yeah, that'll do it for me and Matt. We'll be back again next week, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.